What's up, fam? Hope everybody's doing fantastic out there. Today we're taking a look at a knife that is unfortunately sold out at time of filming. However, they will be bringing this knife back, and they will be bringing potentially a smaller version of this knife. So just be on the lookouts for all of that. But without any further ado, we are taking a look at the latest and greatest from Monterey Bay Knives, or MBK. This is the MBK Sabertooth. So we'll go ahead and get the blade out here. Let that sit there while we talk about a little bit of what comes with the knife. So I stated in my unboxing that this knife does come with something I've only seen once before, and again, maybe that's because I'm living under a bridge or under a rock or whatever, you know, troll, whatever. I don't know what I'd call myself. Anyway, it comes with a full set of spares. So you've got a pivot, you've got barrel spacers, you've got bearings, you've got every screw, you got the stop pin, washers, the whole nine. You've got an entire set of spares that comes with the knife, which is absolutely awesome. So kudos to them on providing that much in the way of value on top of the value that's already built into the knife. So, you know, most of you that are watching this probably already know that this knife is an insane value that is really difficult to beat, or I don't think will be beaten for quite some time. So this knife is a 4-inch blade, 3.5-inch cutting edge, 8.5-inch overall, 5-ounce chunk of S90V and titanium. S90V is done at 62 to 63, which is insane. It's $140. This knife was $140, guys. Wow. Just insane. Now, is it a perfect knife? No. Would I expect it to be a perfect knife for $140 with these materials? No. Is it for the price perfect? Yes. I mean, yeah, honestly, it is. For the price that you pay for it, I wouldn't expect any, I mean, just, and there's nothing that's wrong with the knife per se. There's a few nitpicks. We'll talk about those. Let's go ahead and jump into the knife up close and personal, and then we will touch base on all the stuff here. So you've got a nice blasted titanium T8 hardware all the way around. It is lefty love. You do not have any lanyard love unless you count that last standoff there, which I'm sure you could use that last standoff for a lanyard. So yeah, open pillar construction, so no backspacer or nothing like that. But again, it's really nice to see that lefty love there. I'm sure a lot of folks are very happy about that. Pocket clip is good, not amazing, not bad. Just it's just there. It's pretty good. It does carry fairly well. You can take a look at the kind of unique blade shape that this thing has. It is a kind of a leaf spear point. I don't know what you'd call this, but it is a machine satin. Wouldn't expect anything different. I'm not expecting a belt satin or anything like that at that price point. Really nice, kind of a swedge with a fuller blade hole, kind of that teardrop blade hole. You do have some jimping there on the back. It's functional-ish, but you do also have a thumb ramp there. Really nice, substantial finger choil. S90V branding right there. That is the only branding other than the MBK logo, which is very faint. Really nice job there as far as to prevent billboarding. Plunge grind is atrocious. It is what it is. There is already kind of starting to get a smile from the factory. But this thing is a laser beam. It's very, very, very sharp. Nice and acute tip. Sharpening looks to be very, very precise. I think her tip is spot on. I don't know. It might actually be moving to one side. I think it might actually be favoring our show side just a hair. Not too terrible there. There is our first problem, is lock bar access. So lock bar access isn't great. It's not atrocious, but it's not great. So what would make this even better would be as if this was chamfered just a little bit more, and if this was cut down just a little bit more. So we just need just a little bit more access there, maybe even some scalloping on that. But again, at that price point, I'm not going to be mad at it. Lockup is perfect. Centering is perfect. So I can't really fault this knife for what you're getting for the price tag. It does choke up really nicely, so you can get up in there and you have a ton of blade, a ton of very capable blade and behind it, and then it works very, very, very well. it drops down. Now you are going to start, murdering your thumbnail a little bit, if you just keep letting that drop in. But you can control it enough with that. It's not going to be a fidgeting fun knife just because of, again, the size of the blade. You're going to start really punishing your thumbnail. And then that lock bar access, at least for me, and I know there's a couple other people that had some grumbles about it, it is a little on the tight side for that. The lock bar itself is a little heavy. It doesn't look like there's any lock bar relief down here on the liner. So perhaps that's something you could tune yourself, give it a little more, little less lock bar tension, but then at that point you might start losing a little bit of your detent. And, the detent is tuned pretty well on this. It is on the heavier side, so maybe a little bit of a lock bar relief might, relieve that just enough. But again, on a heavy blade like this, I would prefer to keep that heavier detent just to prevent this thing from opening up in your pocket or anything like that. Not that that would really be much of an issue, but, that heavy detent does help with that. Again, especially on these heavier blades. So, in the hand, though, this thing is super comfortable. In this back, the standard position, not choked up. The blade, or the handle, is really great size for that. And honestly, that's kind of where the, where the sweet spot is on this knife. It is kind of right in that. Let's see if I can get it here. Try to get it to balance. It's right at the back end of that finger twirl. Ah, come on. Yeah, there we go. So right at the back end, let me get that in frame. So right at the back end of that finger twirl is where that balance spot's at. So when the knife is in your hand in that spot, you just feel really comfortable there. You don't feel, that the handle is heavy. Now when you do choke up, you do feel a little more of that weight in the handle. But, you're going to get that a lot of times on that choke up spot anyway. But back here where it's sitting in your hand, it just works. It is slab-sided scales, but they are chamfered nicely. So, if they, maybe bump up the price a little bit and give us some contoured titanium here, potentially make this a lot more of a, I don't want to say a lot more premium knife because, part of what makes this so special is the value-driven aspect of it. But if there were a few small changes that I don't know how much they would affect the price, that would, take this knife from, a 7 or an 8 to a 9 or a 10, potentially. It is a Ray Laconico design, which is it's a phenomenal design. And like I said, I think they're planning on, they've announced they're planning on doing a smaller version of this called the Wolverine. So, you're going to play off of that Sabertooth and Wolverine vibe, which I think is awesome. It lets me geek out a little bit, so that's always a good thing for me. It has a phenomenal action, has a great snap to it, has a great sound. The acoustics are wonderful. I just, like I said, I don't find myself wanting more, but I find myself saying if there was more, I would pay more for it, if that makes sense to you guys. Like if this was contoured titanium and with a little bit more machining on the liner, perhaps even just doing an inset liner lock, and dialing down the weight a little bit with some little bit more machining, I think this knife would be a solid candidate and still at this, we can look, considering the price point it's at now, with those changes, I think would still be under that $200 price point and would be still just as much of a winner, if not more, because it would have everything that, it would correct any issues that I've heard anyone talk about on this knife. So, just food for thought. Let's go ahead and take a look at our hardware. T8 hardware all the way around. Forgive me guys if I miss anything or if I start rambling. This is like my 15th video for the night. We just got back from my birthday week vacation, whatever you want to call it, and yeah, I am trying to get caught up on content, so trying to get a lot of videos done here. So I do have a kind of a, looks like maybe a messed up screw here. Let's go ahead and get close up on it. So this screw here is like, it's acting a little odd. So you guys know, again, I am fully transparent. I don't know. It's a little strange. So it's like, so you can see there, it's like it's, I don't know, it's like there's a kind of a, there's like a kind of a step there. So you can see there's like a weird spot here, and then it just kind of steps in and gets in there. So once it's in, it's fine, but it kind of had a weird, like a double step to it. None of the other screws had that. So again, something to be on the lookout for, something to be aware of. But yeah, other than that, guys, that's all I've got for you on this knife. Fantastic knife in general. For $140, you cannot beat this thing. I wouldn't hesitate to buy another one if I had the money. So if they become available and this you're mad because you missed them, if you don't think you like the size, wait. So because they will have the Wolverine eventually. So if you would like this knife but in a smaller size, then definitely wait for the Wolverine. But if you want the big one, when these come out again, definitely grab one. You will not be disappointed. If you are, you'll be able to turn around and sell it for what you paid for it easily. So anyway, guys, I appreciate each and every one of y'all as always. Please remember to be kind, be humble, be EDC. Y'all take care.